So as we start each in the 24-part series, we're at lecture 22, clothing the sanctuary, we're always trying to establish what I would want to call the thesis, the basis for us to understand the series. And it rests in Psalms 104, 1 and 2, which basically says, or specifically says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, my Lord, O Lord, my God, thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, thou coverest thyself with light as with a garment." And we said before that God the Father has inherent righteousness. And this inherent righteousness is manifested in a physical sense. In a physical sense as him having a garment of what? Literal what? Light. We also made a point from Isaiah 61 verse 10 that this righteousness has been imputed and imparted to us. How so? Isaiah 61 verse 10 says, "I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my God, for he had clothed me with the garments of salvation. He had covered me with the robe of righteousness." Whose robe? His robe. Do we have any robe of righteousness that's inherently righteous? No. Our robe is like what? Filthy rags. So we have learned here that as though the moon doesn't have its inherent light, and we say the moon is glowing, but the moon is not glowing. The moon is reflecting the light of the what? The sun. And so it is, Jesus the Son of Righteousness, we reflect his glory. We also learned from Christ with lessons 3:10, 3:11 that for Adam and Eve, they initially had a robe of spiritual garment, meaning righteousness. Whose righteousness? Christ's righteousness. How did that come on them? It was imputed and imparted. How? By the reflected righteousness of who? Jesus Christ. And this was signaled by them having a physical robe of light. But when sin came in, they severed their connection with God, and the light that had encircled them departed. But we say that God is never caught off guard. The plan was in effect from before the foundation of the world. So it was a matter of effecting the plan. Genesis 3:21 discusses effecting. "Unto Adam also unto his wife did the Lord God make coats of skins and clothe them." So animals were sacrificed and their skin was what made the clothing. And that prefigured, it spoke a message looking forward in time that the Son of God, behold the Lamb of God, who takes away the sin of the world, would what? Die and to what? Cover mankind. Amen?
Amen.
So it's prefigured the sanctuary service. And as we said, each time we study that clearly the physical robe made from the slain animal skin is not sufficient. So you might be dressed in your best dress, but you're still spiritually what? Naked. What is required is that which was lost, to be clothed in the spiritual robe. And that represented what? Reflected the righteousness of Jesus Christ. This is prefiguring the sanctuary service. And we said that we are taking a very distinct approach to the sanctuary. We're not going to round about the sanctuary. We're going, as Psalm 77:13-14 says, "Thy way, O Lord, is in the sanctuary." And as we entered through the sanctuary, we saw that Christ, Jesus Christ, is mediating several aspects of his role. He's mediating the weaving, or has mediated the weaving, receiving, us wearing, the robe being examined, watching the robe, and we started, that was a long lecture we did. Remember that lecture?
Yeah.
Where we stand in front of the mirror, which is the what? Commandments of God, and that's how we look to see what is our robe really made of. Then we discussed washing the blood. What do we wash the robe in? Blood of? Blood of the Lamb. Alright, when we studied that, we looked at Revelation chapter 7 and 8. Then the keeping of the robe we saw was necessary because we go through a time of trouble. So it was kept in trouble. It was an important study we did. And next we're going to discuss the city being arrayed in the robe. You heard us say that a while ago? So you have to come back to hear that one. That's a little bit of a spin on that one. Come back to hear that one. Alright? So we said that the robe was fashioned starting from the camp. Jesus Christ came as one of us to tabernacle with us. John made that point quite clear. And we bear his glory. Remember that discussion with John?
Yeah.
And the robe was woven and started, the weaving started in the camp, perfected at the cross, symbolized by the brazen altar. Christ died, but yea, Christ even arose, yea, where? Laver of washing, symbolized by what? The water of regeneration. And he entered the holy place AD 31. As he entered as our mediator, as our intercessor, as the one to mediate the new covenant, which says, what man can't do, God will do.
Amen.
Established on better promises. We had an entire study on that.
Yes,
and you should go back and check these, you know. www.harvestmessageintl.org www.harvestmessageintl.org, and you can get the entire series. And in the holy place we see that Jesus Christ ministers our sanctification. We're sanctified through the word of God. Sanctified and through thy truth, thy word is true. Symbolized by the table of showbread. We bear witness as truly candlesticks placed on a pedestal so it can show, give light to all. That's our witness. And then we learn that Christ's merits, his righteousness is mingled with our prayers. And prayers are an important part of our sanctification.
Yes,
we learn that Christ entered into the most holy place October 22nd, 1844, where he continued the work that he started in the holy place. But he now has additional work, which is what? A work of investigative judgment. Reviewing the records, and names are kept in the book of life or removed from the book of life. Now, we're going to use typology to do some studying for what we're going to look at, all right? And typology is a method of study where an element found in the Old Testament is seen to prefigure one found in the New Testament. Classically, the Old Testament talks about the lamb to be sacrificed. That's type. Who is the antitype, antitypical lamb? Jesus Christ. Friends, are you following?
yes.
All right? The Bible talks about this wisdom of Solomon, type. Who is the untypically wisest person? Jesus Christ. Christ says, he talk about Solomon, but one wiser than Solomon is here, speaking about himself. So Christ was teaching using typology. Christ said, you marvel about the wisdom of Solomon, but I'm saying to you, he was a type. I am the true wise one, the anti-type. Same with the temple. The temple in Israel, in the Old Testament, was a type. But who embodies the temple in fullness? Jesus Christ. Typology. That's typology. So, we learn that Jesus Christ is ministering. And we learn that he's ministering this robe of righteousness, woven in the loom of heaven with no human devising. We learn that's the spiritual garment, Jesus' robe of righteousness. And we'll listen to this revision from this morning. And we also made a reference to Revelation 13, which discussed two beasts. The first beast, the papacy, and the second beast, the United States of America. And we learn that time is going to come where apostate Protestantism. What is apostate Protestantism? That's the image of the beast. How so? When apostate Protestantism uses the power of the state to effect her dogmas, then America would have formed an image to the beast. And that image to the beast will speak and cause. The speaking of a nation is to pass laws. The cause is to enforce these laws. And we see a time is going to come where this Sunday law is going to be passed. And we discussed this morning. We'll learn that there are 4 stages to the natural Sunday law. I'm in revision mode, just revising quickly. We learned this morning that while the first, second, and third angel message is going forth, they're going to be an initial stage 1 where they're going to be a no work on Sunday. And we saw that this is being shadowed by what we see going on in Europe. We discussed Poland, we discussed the Pope's encyclical that speaks about giving Sunday credence for what? A time for rest and bonding. Yes? And making what's wrong right. But then a point in time is going to come where what was a no work on Sunday is going to be enforced as a Sunday observance. Where we're going to be required to go to church on Sunday. If we intend to be able to buy and sell. Because I want us to appreciate something. It's the image of the beast that speaks and calls. So apostate Protestantism will be the drive to pass the law, but also to enforce the law. Did we get that a while ago? Speak is a passing of the law. Cause is the what? Enforcement. There's going to be a link between going to church on Sunday and having access to the financial system of the world. Do you see it, friends and friends? And there was another series that we did that was named The Rise and Fall of Babylon, or the New World Order. There was 10 studies, and we studied the economics of the world in great detail. You should remember Sister Keisha. If you want that series, you can get one with Sister Keisha. And why I'm mentioning that is that this system of enforcement is far advanced. Far advanced. So please get that series from Sister Keisha. Good series for you to have. And we said at the point in time where there's enforcement of the Sunday law, that's when the mark of the beast is in effect. We learn from Revelation 22 verse 11 that the time is going to come where Christ, ministering in the most holy place, is going to say what? He who is filthy remain filthy? Still. And he who is righteous remain righteous? Still. At that point in time, they're going to be a what? Close of probation. And that's the point where the third watch ends, because we're in the third watch now, and we'll begin the fourth watch, and we'll not get a time for that, not get a date. No date for the closing of the third watch and the start of the fourth watch. No date for the closure of probation. My throat is scratching me a whole lot. Yeah, let me just get some water and drink a little water, please. Alright, so when probation closes, we're going to enter a time of trouble. Enter a time of trouble. And we said at that point in time, when the probation closes, Christ himself will come to the door of the first apartment. Then he will put on his garments of what? Vengeance. So he's going to take off his high priestly garment and put on a garment now of what? Vengeance. And there Christ will be standing at the threshold of the holy place in heaven, about to make his entry on earth. Then the plagues will come upon the wicked. And we spend our time this morning, this is just revision, friends, just to keep you, to know, for you to know where we are going. My slides are a little bit off. I'm a little bit nervous to touch it. I'll leave it, it's not, alright, let's do the best we can. A little bit off. So the stage 1, no work on Sunday. Stage 2, enforce Sunday observance. During stage 1 and stage 2, the loud cry message of the first, second, and third angel continues. But at the close of probation, the Spirit of God is what? Is removed, thank you. Removed from the earth. The Spirit of God is removed from the earth. Yeah. The message goes no further. And many will be going far and wide. As Amos, I think it's Amos 8 verse 13 says, seeking to find a word from the word of God. No more message there, friend. No more message there. Then we saw that they're going to be at stage 3 of the Sunday law. A death decree. Death decree issued from an anti-Sabbath law. And then they're going to be at stage 4. Stage 4 is the enforcement of this death decree. And we saw that God is going to do something very interesting. The 5th plague is a response to the people of God under a death decree. And then we see that under the 6th plague, 2 interesting things we saw there. We saw spirits went out like frogs to the kings of the world to gather them together against God's people. But a point in time is going to where Satan himself is going to impersonate Christ on the 6th plague. And then we see that God the Father's voice saying, "It is done," voice of God. Then there are many cosmic and earthly eruptions that will occur. And we saw that there's going to be a special resurrection. Some to resurrection of life, some to resurrection of damnation. We saw that. And we saw that those who rise to the resurrection of life, they are glorified by the voice of God. And we saw, well, my throat is really going today. We saw that the voice of the Son of God will rise up those saints in the what? General resurrection. Remember we discussed that? And the voice of the Son of God will also do what? Glorify those who rise in the general resurrection. Then we saw that Jesus Christ himself is going to bestow immortality as a gift unto us. And then we learned we're all glorified. Those who rose to the resurrection of life in the special resurrection, the righteous states who are living, and those who rose up in the general resurrection. All glorified. Then CCH 34:2 says what? And they were all clothed with a glorious white mantle from their shoulders to their feet. So everyone now not only has on the spiritual robe of righteousness, but the what? Physical robe of light. As it was with Adam and Eve, so it is when we enter the new city. Angels were all about us as we march over the sea of glass to the gate of the city. Jesus raised his mighty, glorious arm, laid hold of the pearly gate, swung it back on its glittering hinges, and said to us, "You have washed your robes in the what? By blood. You stood stiffly for my truth. Enter in." We all marched in and felt that we had our perfect right in the city. Amen. Please pray for my throat. I'm not sure why I'm struggling with my throat so much this week. I know I'm still recovering from the flu, but it's been very difficult. I'm not sure why. So we all enter in our robes of light. No. That's the positive side. We have to look on the other side. So we just saw garments of light for the righteous. Amen? We're going to spend our time now and discuss garments found wanting, harvest of wrath. So the garments of light was a harvest of redemption. Remember we discussed that this morning. So let me say it again. The garments of light was a harvest of redemption. We'll look at the other side. Garments found wanting, a harvest of what? Wrath. So, last day events 251, third paragraph says, we need to study the pouring out of the seventh vial. No. What does study mean? Study means study. Study doesn't mean read, right? So study means that you're going to look at this piece, look at this piece, lift it up, look at the other piece, reference that piece to that piece, get reference to that piece. That's what studying involves, right? Examine. In depth. Agreed? Yes. So that's what we're going to do now. This won't be superficial, friends. It's going to be a very intense study now. So let's go through it. Keep my throat in your prayer, please. But we need to study the pouring out of the seventh vial. Study. The powers of evil will not yield up the conflict without a struggle. But providence, capitalized here, has a part to act in the battle of Armageddon. When the earth is lighted with the glory of the angel of Revelation 18, the religious elements, good and evil, will awake from slumber, and the armies of the living God will take the battlefield. It's going to be literally what? Two forces in what? Battle. Are you seeing that? Yeah. So the battle of Armageddon, is it going to be a real battle? Yeah. Will it going to be? Alright, let's go through that now. We learned this morning that the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air. And we learned from Manuscript Releases, Volume 10, page 240, that it's a biblical principle to understand the plagues. The Lord God of Israel is to execute judgment upon the gods of this world as upon the gods of Egypt. So we learned something that if the seventh vial is poured up into the air, it must be poured upon the God of the air. Very, very practical, very straightforward. And we learned that using Egyptian mythology, that Shu was a god of the air. That's another name for Satan, by the way. Alright? And we learned that the seventh vial is poured upon the God of the air. We asked ourselves the question this morning. Who is the God of the air? Ephesians 2:1-3 told us quite explicitly. And you were dead in the trespass and sins, in which you once walked, following the course of this world, following the prince of the power of the air. The spirit that is now at work in the sons of disobedience, among whom we all once lived in the passions of our flesh, carrying out the desires of the body and the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, like the rest of mankind. So, we learned this morning that there are several references that support the truth that Satan is the prince of the air. Matthew 9:34 says, prince of devils. John 14:30, 16:11 says what? Prince of this world. And to drive the point home without any question or doubt, Ephesians 2 verse 2 just read says, the prince of the power of the air. I will learn a principle this morning that if you're gonna ransack the strong man's house, what you need to do first? Bind him and tie him. And that's exactly why this plagues are directed towards Satan. Because God and the Son, God the Father and God the Son intend to do what? Snatch from Satan's grasp what? Those saints who have died. And those saints who are alive. So rightly it needs to go to the God of the air. Now, here it becomes interesting now. Revelation 16:6 says, 16:16. And he gathered them, he here is Satan, we learned that this morning, gathered them together into a place called the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. Now here's I'm going to give you something very, very important. If you want to understand the Battle of Armageddon, do exactly what God says. Understand it in the Hebrew tongue. Don't understand in the English tongue. The Hebrew tongue. What does that mean? We're going to use typology now. Same typology we discussed what we're going to use now. So we're going to go back into the Old Testament. Was written in what? Hebrew. New Testament was written in what? Greek. So in the New Testament, Revelation 16:16 says to understand the Battle of Armageddon, you need to understand in what? The Hebrew tongue. So we're going to go back to the Hebrew part of the Bible, the Old Testament, and we're going to look for the phraseology Armageddon. That's written in what? Hebrew. And the circumstances of that situation will act as a type for us to understand the what? Anti-type, the Battle of Armageddon. Do we understand the concepts of what we're going to do?
Yes.
Alright, let's do that. Battle of Armageddon in type. We're going to go to Judges. Judges 1 and 2. Judges 7, 1 and 2. So Judges 7, 1 and 2 says, Then Zerubbabel, who is Gideon, and all the people that were with him rose up early and pitched beside the well of Harod, so that the host of the Midianites were on the north side of them, by the hill of Moreh in the valley. And the Lord said unto Gideon, The people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, My own hand has saved me. No. This word Gideon, listen now, in the Hebrew tongue, in Armageddon. The word Armageddon is used once in the Bible, only in the book of Revelation, chapter 16. It is important to note that the battle is referred to as the great day of God Almighty. Bear that in mind. And it takes place in a place called, in the Hebrew tongue, Armageddon. To understand the meaning of Armageddon, it must be understood from the Hebrew tongue. A similar sounding word is used in the phrase Judges 7:2 when God calls Gideon Jehovah Armageddon. So if you go to the original Hebrew, right here we saw Gideon in Judges 7:2, it's really Jehovah Armageddon. Friends, are you getting that? Friends, are we getting that? I want to see, if we don't get this, we can't move on. So, because the word Armageddon, as it's spelled, is used only once in the Bible, God in His mercy instructs us how to understand the word. You need to understand the word in its what? Hebrew context. So you can't look for Armageddon to understand in the New Testament. You have to go where? Old Testament. Why? Because the Old Testament was written in what? Hebrew. And when you search to find the phraseology, Armageddon, this is what you find. Jehovah Armageddon. And it's used in the context of who? Gideon. So when we write in our English, it comes out Gideon. But if you go to the original language, Hebrew, this is what it's going to sound like. So to understand the Battle of Armageddon, we have to understand whose experience. Gideon's experience. So let's go to Gideon's experience. And I'm going to watch it, I'm going to enjoy doing this. You know the reason why? Every time we apply the typology, you guys are going to be saying, ooh, oh, I promise you're going to be doing it. And I just look at everyone and I'll be smiling. I promise you, it's every time I do the sermon. So let's enjoy ourselves together in the Word of God. So, the understanding of Armageddon must therefore be in the circumstances and the context of Gideon's experience. Now, let's go to Judges 6 and 7 and understand Gideon's experience. Alright, let's go to Judges 6 and 7 to understand Gideon's experience. Listen carefully now. Judges 6:1. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Yahweh, and Yahweh delivered them into the hand of the Midian 7 years. And the hand of Midian prevailed against Israel, and because of the Midianites, the children of Israel made them dens which are in the mountains and caves and strongholds. I'm looking at the church. You guys started to see it already? Amen. At the Battle of Armageddon, we are the people of God. Hiding. First point I want you guys to realize. Look at this point now. And so it was when Israel had sown that the Midianites came up, and the Amalekites and the children of the east, even they came up against them. What group is against them? 3 groups. The Midianites, Amalekites, and the children of the east. In the last days, how many are going to come up against God's people? The dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. I told you you'd be doing it. So there you see that's the first person. I know you guys are going to be doing it. I'm going to do many more. I have much more parallel typology to show you. So, let's explore these 3 groups. Let's explore the Midianites, Amalekites, and the children of the east. Is that reasonable? Yeah. Let's explore them, because we're studying. Yeah. Amen. So, here's the genealogy of Abraham. So, Abraham, through Hagar, children of the east came from Ishmael. Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebekah. Esau, from Esau, the Edomites came, the Amalekites. And for Keturah, his wife, after Sarah died, the Midianites came. You guys got that? You got that, friends? Now let's go one more time. Follow me now. Genealogy of Abraham. From Hagar through Ishmael came children of the east. Are we seeing that? Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebekah, through Esau came the Edomites or the Amalekites. Keturah, marriage after Sarah died, came the what? Midianites. Now, let's put some meaning to this now. My sister taking a picture and I'm trying to accommodate her. My sister, quickly. You know it's important to wait for every one person? Amen. Yeah, Steve, can you shift this up a little bit for me? Don't shift it too much. Just get it, carry it more towards that side.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Not too much. Too much. There you go.
Alright, perfect, great. No. There you go. Alright, good. Let's leave like that. Perfect. That's it. There you go. That's it. Alright, here we go now. So, in Jeremiah 49:20, the inhabitants of Kedar are called the children of the east. And in later Jewish literature, Kedar is identified with the Arabs. What are we saying? See Kedar right there? So, children of the east speaks about the whole Ishmael Arabic lineage. Are you following me? Descendants. The Midianites were descendants of Midian. We learned that before. Alright? The Bible portrays the Amalekites as descendants of Amalek, a grandson of Esau, who derived their origins from Edom, cousins to the Israelites. So in typology, there are 3 enemies of Israel. Children of the east, the Midianites, and the Amalekites. So those 3 came up to Armageddon, to battle with Gideon. In the Hebrew tongue, Armageddon. Are you following me now? Are you seeing the typology? So 3 came up. Let's go to Judges now, 7:20-22. And the three companies, now this is when there was a shaking and a sifting amongst Gideon's people. I'm looking at you guys and smile again. How much did Gideon start with first? Thousands. Like 20 or 30,000, I remember. And it whittled down to what? 300. So there was a shaking and a what? Sifting. Ah. So are you saying that God is only one of a faithful few in the land? Yes, it is true. So, Gideon went down into the camp of the Midianites and he heard a story of a barley loaf that ran through and tore down the tents. And the same persons, the same enemies were interpreting and said, this is who? Nothing but the what? The army of who? Gideon. So Gideon says, alright, it's time to attack now. Listen carefully now. We're discussing the battle of Armageddon right here, but I want to understand the principles. Judges 7:20. And the three companies blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers and held the lamps in their left hands and the trumpets in their right hands to blow it out. And they cried, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. So they did that. So the Midianites, Amalekites, and the children of the east were camped, and they broke the lamps and blew the horn, and they made that statement. And listen what happened now. Listen carefully. Judges 7:21-22. And they stood every man in his place round about the camp, and all the hosts ran and cried and fled. And the 300 blew the trumpets, and the Lord set every man's sword against his. So in the battle of Armageddon, who's going to be fighting against himself? The wicked. You got that, friends?
Yes.
No. I'm making some very pertinent statements, but guess what? We will have to go back in the anti-type and show convincingly that the wicked in the anti-type is going to fight against himself. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Because we're still establishing typology for it. So, note here. We're not seeing the people of God in the battle here. We see the enemies consuming themselves. Are you seeing that?
Yes.
Even throughout all the hosts. So this was the whole camp of the Midianites, Amalekites, children of the east were all what? Decimating themselves.
Yeah.
So that's what was going on. So when it was said, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon, confusion amongst the who? The Midianites, Amalekites, and the children of the east. I wanted the same thing we're going to see when it's going to be said. It is done. I wanted the same thing we're going to see. Let's just see. Now, we're seeing something else happening now. And the men of Israel gathered themselves together out of Naphtali, and out of Asher, and out of Manasseh, and pursued after the Midianites. So who joined the battle now? Children of Israel. So am I saying, or is the word of God saying better yet, that the battle of Armageddon is going to have two aspects to it. The wicked is going to consume themselves, and the armies of God is going to mop up the rest. Let us see if the typology proves true. Rizzo? Yeah. Let's see if the typology proves true. Alright. One important thing I want to realize again. Judges 7:25 says, and they took two princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb, and they slew Oreb upon the rock Oreb, and Zeb they slew at the winepress of Zeb, and pursued Midian and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb. So, do we expect to find in the anti-type that two princes of this threefold conglomerate going to be taken? Shouldn't we expect to find that likewise in the typology? Yes. So we're looking to see the typology, the wicked fighting amongst themselves, the armies of the living God taking the battlefield and mapping up the rest. And we expect to see at least two princes taken amongst these threefold union. Is that over? I'm estimating too much, or is that what we learned so far? That's consistent with the typology. So the Battle of Armageddon in anti-type now. Let's look at it in anti-type. Let's apply that typology to the Battle of Armageddon. The harvest of God's wrath. Revelation 14:7-20 says, and another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, Esau also having a sharp sickle. Another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather clusters of the vine of the earth, for our grapes are fully ripe. So the first harvest of the righteous is the harvest of what? The wheat.
Right.
We're seeing the harvest of what? The grape. And the grapes are what? Fully ripe. So the wicked are set in their ways. Are they going to change? No. Why? They are fully ripe. Are we seeing that, friends?
Yes.
They're not just ripe, they are fully ripe. And the angel thrusted his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and cast into the great winepress of the wrath of God. Listen, friends, this is the wrath of God. This is the harvest now of wrath. And the winepress was trodden without the city. So this destruction is happening within God's people. No, it's happening what?
Outside.
Outside the city.
Yeah.
Friends, are you seeing that?
Yeah. Yes.
So the winepress, this destruction is not God being destroyed. Because it's destroyed what? Without the city. City of God, the New Jerusalem. The people in this context. Friends, are you understand that point? And blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse bridles by the space of 1,600 furlongs. All this was basically 4 by 400 furlongs. When you see 4 times 400 here, it means that's going to be a what? Global destruction.
Right.
4 points of the compass.
Yeah.
Friends, are you understanding what?
Yeah.
So that's how this is a way that they wrote in biblical times.
Yes.
When they want to demonstrate a fullness of something, they would say 12, like 12 tribes mean God's people number. You are following me? Or they say 4 talking about what? The compass. There are 4 angels holding the 4 winds of strife. So strife going to go over the whole world. Same thing with 4 times 400, 1,600. Are you following me, friends?
Yes.
So it's a worldwide destruction of the trodden of the winepress of the wicked without the city. Are you understanding that so far? Alright, let's go further now. So, we're going on to Revelation chapter 16. Verse 18 says, And there were voices and thunders and a lightning, and there was a great earthquake. Listen now. Such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty and great an earthquake, so great. And the great city was divided into 3 parts. So this has 2 applications. Is there going to be a literal earthquake? Yes. But there's going to be an earthquake to fracture the union of the threefold system. I don't want you to miss that, friends. Let's look at it. A great earthquake such as not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. Listen now. And the great city was divided into what? 3 parts. Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
So is it going to be a literal earthquake? Yes, we discussed that this morning. We're going to see what cities going down, and we discussed that this morning, friends.
Yes.
But we're talking about an earthquake now to what? Shatter the what? Union of this threefold system. Now let me show you that in more conclusive way. So Revelation 16, 19 and 13 says, And the great city was divided in 3 parts. And I saw a true unclean spirit like frost come out of the mouth of the what? The dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. So are you saying this city of Babylon is made of these 3 parts? Absolutely. Are you saying the earthquake going to fragment the relationship between the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet? That's exactly what we're saying. Now let's go into some more detail. So the satanic trinity is the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. So the 7th plague is at Satan and Satan's trinity. Are you seeing that? The dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. Now let's go to the typology now. In antitype, there are 3 enemies of spiritual Israel. As it was in the type, the children of the east, the dragon, that represents the eastern and all pagan religions. Friends, are you following me? As it was in the type, the Midianites, in the antitype is the beast, represents the what? The papacy. The Amalekites, the false prophet, as apostate Protestantism. So we saw when we discussed the battle of Armageddon in the context of Gideon. How many came up against Israel? 3. The Amalekites, the Midianites, and the children of the what? East. Here's their comparison in the what? Anti-tide. And the word of God is said there's going to be an earthquake that's going to splinter the city into what? 3 parts. So if you break the city into 3 parts, are they together anymore? No. Was that what we saw in the Battle of Armageddon with Gideon's time? Yes. Did we see them all fighting amongst each other?
Yes.
I'm going to show you as we discuss even further. So, the dragon represents the children of the east, the false prophet represents the Amalekites, and the beast represents the Midianites in typology. Now, we learned that there were 2 aspects to the battle in the Battle of Armageddon in Gideon's experience. Every man's sword was against his fellow. Was that we saw?
Yeah.
So let's explore that. So we expect to see that in the Battle of Armageddon in the anti-tide. Let's go to that. Revelation 7:1 says, and after these things I saw 4 angels stand on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth. You see, ties up with the 1600 furlongs now?
Yes.
4 by 400 furlong.
Yes.
You guys see the 4 coming in play now?
Yes.
So it's a worldwide trotting going on now. Going to be a worldwide trotting on the graves.
Right. Yes.
The wicked.
Yes.
That the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. So God presently has angels command and commission to hold the winds of strife, so the winds of strife don't blow on the earth. Alright? No. Maranatha 257, 3rd paragraph. 4 mighty angels hold back the powers of this earth, till the servants of God are seated in their foreheads. Oh, that's interesting. So are we saying the winds of strife will not start blowing fully yet until when? The servants of God are all what? Seated in their foreheads. Important point. So all the way up until probation closes, God is still going to hold the winds of strife. When probation closes and everybody is sealed, who is going to be sealed? Then then what's going to happen? Winds of strife is going to go worldwide. But they are held in check by angels, yes? The nations of the world are eager for conflict.
Yes. Yes. We got that.
I want you to try to the church start to see what's happening now.
Yes. Yes.
The nations of the earth are eager for conflict, but they are held in check by angels right now.
Yes.
Because God is still sealing his people.
Yes.
When this restraining power is removed, there will come a time of trouble and anguish.
Yes.
257, 3rd paragraph. Deadly instruments of warfare will be invented. Vessels with their living cargo will be entombed in the great deep. All who have not the spirit of truth will unite under the leadership of the satanic agencies, but they are to be kept under control till the time shall come for the great battle of. So when is it that the 4 winds of strife is going to be let loose fully? At the battle of Armageddon, the 7th plague. Are you seeing that, friends? So up until then, it will be held in check somewhat. But at this point in time, battle of Armageddon, the 7th plague, all hell break loose. Great controversy 6:14, 1st paragraph. As the angels of God cease to hold in check the fierce winds of human passion, all elements of strife will be let loose. The whole world will be involved in ruin more terrible than that which came upon Jerusalem of old. John TM 444, 3rd paragraph. Testimonies to ministers, I believe. John sees elements of nature. Listen, friends. John sees elements of nature, nature. Earthquake, tempest, and political strife, represented as being held by 4 angels. So there is about to break on this world earthquakes, tempests, and political strife. But what's holding it? The 4 angels are holding back. Angels are holding the 4 winds, which are represented as the angry or seeking to break loose and to rush over the face of the whole earth, bearing destruction and death in its path. Messages, book 3, page 409. Listen now, friends. Early writings 289, 3rd paragraph. After the saints have been delivered by the voice of God. That occurs under the 7th plague. We learned that this morning. The wicked multitude turned their rage upon. So was that we learned in the battle of Armageddon? We looked at Gideon?
Yes.
I told you going to say, see if you hear it say there again. I told you guys you're going to keep saying that. Because you're going to see the parallel quite clearly. So we saw when Gideon said, the sword of Gideon, the sword of the Lord and Gideon. Confusion erupted amongst the what? the threefold union of the Amalekites, Midianites, and the children of the east. When Christ says it is done, God the Father, when God's voice says it is done, and the saints are delivered, then the wicked multitude turn their rage upon one another. Then you're going to see the earthquake that fragments the threefold union of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. You see it now, friends? Then you got the earthquake in terms of separation of the unity of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. So this different system of religion, the paganistic religions, apostate Protestantism, and the papacy, the people of those religions are going to be what? War through the whole world. And they're going to liquidate each other. Let's look at some of these. How is it going to be done? Let's see what's going to be done. Important point. Don't miss this point, friends. Babylon destroyed. Babylon, claiming to be the daughter of a priest, Jesus, will be fitly burned with fire. Listen to this. I'm giving you some biblical principles. Don't miss this point. Leviticus 21 verse 9 tells us how the battle of Armageddon is going to be fought. And the daughter of any priest, if she profanes herself by playing the war, she profaned her father, she shall be burned with fire. That's a biblical principle that's unchangeable. And Babylon claims herself to be a daughter. Isn't that so? Yeah. Yes, she claims that she calls herself that. So, the Bible is saying to us how Babylon is going to be destroyed by fire. Does the Bible give us further evidence? Let's look. Revelation 17:16 says what? And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the war and shall burn her with fire. Ah, interesting. Remember we learn about these 10 horns, these 10 kings who have had no kingdom as yet? And these are the kings that the spirits went forth to deceive, to gather together. Remember we discussed that this morning? We're seeing here that they're going to turn now onto who? Back onto Babylon, papacy itself, and burn her with what? Fire. Is that a fitting destruction for Babylon? Yeah. Yes, why? Because the Bible says that's how it must be done. Because she claimed that she's what? She's the daughter of a priest and she'll play the war. The Bible describes Babylon as a great war. So she's going to be what? Shall be burnt with fire. I will learn that Revelation 17:16 says what? And the 10 horns which thou sawest are upon the beast, these shall hate the war and shall burn her with fire. Revelation 18:8 says what? Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine. And shall she be utterly burned with what? Fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. So all these weapons of destruction that they have made, it shall be turned on Babylon itself. There's going to be a worldwide decimation of the Catholic Church.
Yes.
The Bible says that and I believe it. When the union between the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet is fragmented, you're going to see devastation like you never imagined. No. Zechariah 14:12-13. Listen to this carefully now. This is getting deep now, friends. Zechariah 14:12-13 says, and this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord shall smite all the people that have fought against. Who's Jerusalem? People of God. So God is saying there's a plague I have in store just for those who fight against Jerusalem, about my fight against my people. Is that what the Bible is saying is there? Yeah. What's this plague? Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. And their eyes shall consume away in their holes. And their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult for the Lord shall be among them. And they shall lay hold everyone on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. Was that what we saw in the Battle of Armageddon when we talk about Gideon? Absolutely. So there's going to be a plague that's going to be so intense that while you're standing on your feet, your skin going to literally melt off. Your eyeballs going to literally melt off. Your tongue going to literally melt off. That's what it's saying. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord shall smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Fire. Only one thing I know does this, friends. That's a nuclear explosion.
Yes.
That's the whole thing I know, that when you're standing on your feet, it can consume it like that. There will be nuclear war, friends. Not right now.
Weapons of mass destruction.
Yes, friends, it will occur.
Yeah. They have them.
When the 4 angels let go the winds of strife at the
Yes.
battle of Armageddon.
And all have.
We learned before that there are deadly weapons being built. We learned that before when we read. Friends, don't be frightened. I'm not frightened one bit. Because he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High is going to what? Shall abide that one. Yes. So I'm not worried. So I can present it. But I'm not worried. I don't look nervous or frightened.
No, sir.
No, not at all.
No.
No. Does God target any particular people with this plague that's going to consume people stand on their feet? Early writings 289, third paragraph. The wrath of God in the 7 last plagues has been visited upon the inhabitants of the earth, causing them to gnaw their tongues with from pain and to curse God. Listen now. The false shepherds had been the signal objects of Jehovah's wrath. The who? False shepherds. Their eyes had consumed away in their holes, and their tongues in their mouths while they stood up on their feet. So all false shepherds who are giving a false message and deceiving the people.
Yes, sir.
God have a plan for them.
Same, sir.
Friends, all I'm doing is just reading the Bible and just reading the Spirit of prophecy.
Sir.
That's all I'm doing this evening.
That's the truth.
That's all I'm doing.
Can't change.
Now, what are the kings and the merchants of the New World Order? These 10 regional systems that we discussed in Revelation chapter 17. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich with the abundance of her delicacies. Now, who are these merchants and who are these kings? Isaiah 23 verse 8 says to us, who are taken counsel against Tyre, the crowning city, whose Tyre is being described as Babylon or the papacy. Are you following me?
Yes.
Whose merchants, bankers, are the princes, and whose traffickers,
yes,
those who are involved in trading,
yes,
are the honorable of the earth. So does God have a plan in his retributive justice
yes,
for this wicked banking system that's
yes,
consuming the world
yes,
and creating a system of rich and exceedingly poor? Yes, God has a plan for them.
Yes, sir.
He has a plan for them, friends. Here the prophet Isaiah, using Tyre synonymous to the papacy, asks a rhetorical question. The answer is clear. The merchants are the bankers, are the princes, head of corporations, and the traffickers, those who trade in stocks and control currencies, are the honorable positions of authority of the earth, all controlled by the... So friends, the entire banking system, the entire trading system is controlled by the papacy.
Yes, sir.
yes.
Let's just deal with it, friends.
Yes.
God have a plan for them, friends.
Yes.
So International Monetary Fund, Christine Lagarde,
Yes.
all of these are the high rollers in terms of world finances.
High cooks.
Interesting lady right here. Look what she wears on her shoulder.
Yes, the horn.
Picture of Baphomet. You know who's Baphomet?
No.
Baphomet is a picture of Satan in his androgenic form, male female form.
Oh.
Yep. Same lady again. What she wearing here? On her brooch on her chest. Baphomet brooch again. What she wearing right here on her lapel? 666 she's wearing right here. Who is this lady that she's in league with? Philip de Rothschild's daughter.
Oh, the Rothschild, yes.
Christine Lagarde, managing director of the Rothschild Control International Monetary Fund. Wine tasting with Barnes Philip de Rothschild. What is this she have on her chest? Look what she have on her chest. A brooch of who? Baphomet.
My world.
These are the people who control the banking system.
Same, sir.
Criminality.
Amen.
Revelation 18:5 and 6 says, for sins have reached out heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double account her works. In the cup which she had filled to her what? So God is going to give her back what? Double the portion of what she has given.
Yes.
Amen.
How much she had glorified herself and lived diligently, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she said in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore her plague shall come in.
One day.
Now, this one day don't mean one day. This one day mean at least 1 year, friends.
Yes.
Yes.
So don't think the plagues are just going to fall in just a 2-week episode. No. The plagues are going to be a very long, arduous process. I will need to prepare when? Now. Death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. Why? Because she claimed to be the daughter of a what? Priest, but she went about what? Warring. So this fitly punishment is to what? Burn her with fire. That biblical principle can't break. Revelation 18, 19 and 13 says what? And the kings of the earth who had committed fornication, we discussed that before, the merchants of the earth. And they discussed about the merchandise of gold and silver, precious stones and pearls and fine linen. The entire stock market, the entire world trading system is controlled by who? Babylon, the papacy.
Yes. Yes.
All that's going to crash, friends.
The whole deal.
Isaiah 2:20 says what? In that day a man shall cast his eyes of silver and his eyes of gold, which they made each one for himself to worship, to the moles and to the bats. The entire world economy crashes. So all who have silver and gold put down, you're going to what? Throw them to the what? Cast his eyes of silver and eyes of gold, which they have made each one himself to the moles and to the bats. Worthless. Entire world economy crashes completely.
Nothing will be any value.
Only the righteous will be sustained by God.
Amen. Hallelujah.
The wicked will be dying from thirst, hunger, and famine. They will be.
Yes.
And Babylon will be on literal fire.
Fire.
James 5:1-3 says, Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that ye shall come upon you. Your riches are what? Corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and your silver is conquered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as with fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. Friends, you understand what this was just said a while ago? God is going to be bringing back retributive judgment on the rich who are stepping and squeezing out the poor. Your gold and silver are going to conquer because it won't be used. So if you're not going to use it, what's going on? You're going to conquer. Just like if I old Jackson, you don't use what I'm to eat. It becomes moth eaten. It becomes old and you throw it away. A word for the wise. Put your money in the car because of Christ now.
Amen.
Yes.
This thing about saving for rainy day, the rainy days now.
No. Right.
You guys didn't hear me, friends.
Amen.
Yes, you have saved for the rainy days. Start spending now because the rainy days now.
Yes.
You guys not hearing me.
Yes.
Now, half of you guys won't convince what I was saying.
Good.
I'm convinced.
So, the seventh plague, target the prince of the air, that's Satan himself. Battle of Armageddon we saw before. The three-part union of Babylon is broken.
Yes.
No. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent, and men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. So the Bible says, under the seventh plague, hail is going to fall from heaven. No. There was hail in the seventh plague in Egypt. Just as there is going to be hail in the seventh plague in the final judgment that we're seeing here. Now, listen to this carefully now. In the mad strife of their own fierce passions, and by the awful outpouring of God's unmingled wrath for the wicked inhabitants of the earth, priests, rulers, and people, rich and poor, high and low, and the slain of the Lord shall be at that day from one end of the earth unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither shall they be what? Buried. Listen now. Bible says treasures of hail. Where are the treasures of hail? Let's see if the Bible can tell us where they are. Deuteronomy 13, 6 and 10. Why is it God is going to use hail to bring judgment on the world? Is there a biblical principle that says he must do it this way? Let's go to Deuteronomy 13, 6 and 10. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, which is as thine own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, Let us go and serve other gods, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers. Verse 10. And thou shalt stone him with stones that he die. So it's a biblical principle. If the people of God, or say they are people of God, go and serve other gods, what's the punishment? Stoning. So, the seventh plague that include hail from heaven is a stoning of who? The wicked who have chosen to serve other gods. Which other gods? The dragon, the beast, and the false prophet.
Yes.
Friends, are you understand the biblical principle?
Yes.
Just as though the papacy is going to be burned because she claimed to be what? The daughter of a priest. And she played the word on. So she's going to be burnt.
Yes.
The others now who follow her
Will be burnt.
will be what? Stoned. You see the biblical principle why God has to do it this way?
Yes.
No. An adulterous world stone. Babylon's adulterous daughters, apostate Protestantism, will be fitly stoned with the plague of hailstones.
They said the big boulders when I
Alright? No, question now. Where do these hailstones come from?
Okay.
A reasonable question. Let's say the Bible can give us some answer. Job 38, 22, 23 says this. Job speaking now. As thou entered into the treasures of the snow, question is asking. That's God asking Job this question now. Or hast thou seen the treasures of ale, which I have reserved against the time of trouble? You guys didn't get that? Ella called you didn't get that one.
Sir, there's none.
I don't end this one.
Time.
So let's go one more time. Job 38, 22, 23. God now speaking to Job and asking Job some questions. As thou entered into the treasures of snow, or as thou seen the treasures of hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble.
Yes.
So from the time of Job,
Reserve them.
God have reserved
Yes.
his treasure of hail.
Yes.
For what time? For the time of trouble. What are we discussing now? Time of trouble. Against the day of battle and war.
Yes.
Is that what we discussed on the seventh plague?
Yes.
So, if the hail that will fall has been kept in treasure from before the time of Job, then it must be a natural phenomenon that is a present reality. Does that make sense? Way back from the time of Job, God said, Job, you asked another question, but let me ask you a few questions now. You're doubtful of me. But have you looked in my treasure house and see the treasure of hail that I've kept in reserve? For a time that's going to come way in the future. The time of trouble when they're going to be war and battle. Have you seen that, Job? Here it is, friends.
Mercy.
Around the earth is asteroid belts. This is real. This is not me making it. This is it. There is an asteroid belt around, just outside the orbit of the earth.
Yes.
So we see the sun, Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter. There's an asteroid belt here.
Yes.
The seven plagues is a plague of asteroid from God's treasure house.
Yes.
And it will stone the wicked inhabitants. Because they have chosen to follow other gods. Because the biblical principle says that if you follow other gods, you're going to be what? Stoned. So the hail each has a weight of a talent, which is approximately 130 pounds. This is not the usual size of hail from ice storms. No. These hails are coming from heavens. From God's treasure house. Go to Luke 18, 30, 22. I shall put it in the presentation.
Yes.
Please take a picture of this slide so you can check me up. And Luke 18, 22 describe the heavens as God's treasure house. And Job 38 said what? Job 38 said that God has reserved in his treasure hails. Yes, remember that? Yes. Let me go back. Here. I have reserved against, as those see the treasures of hail, which I have reserved against it, time of trouble. So the treasures is in God's treasure house, which Luke 18, 22 says is what? God's treasure house is the heavens. So in the heavens, though, right now, God's treasure house, God is keeping a reserve one. A whole asteroid belt which he intends to what? Dump and stone this earth. And destroy the wicked. Because the wicked indeed have served other gods. As a fitting punishment for them, because that's how it is by biblical principle. God will then punish an adulterous wife. The apostate Protestant church by raining down stones from heaven. Leviticus 10, 20, 10, John 8, 4, 5. And next person, when I go, I'm going to put in these biblical quotations in there. and send it out to you. So ask Lord, these are what's going to pulverize the wicked. No. So we learned two things so far. Men will be fighting against men. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Hail will be coming down to stone the wicked. We learned that there was an important part in the battle of Armageddon with Gideon. The men of Israel gathered themselves together. Now the men of Israel here is not talking about us. The men of Israel is a different group. Let's see which group is that now. Revelation 19, 11 to 12, 21. And I saw heaven open, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. Who is this? What did Gideon and his men say? The sword of the Lord and of Gideon. The sword of the Lord and Gideon. And he was clothed with adventure dipped in. So is this Jesus Christ coming back as high priest? No. He's coming as a king. To bring forth vengeance on the wicked. And his name is called the Word of God. The sword of the Lord and of Gideon. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothing finely in white and clean. Who are the armies of heaven? The angels. So instead of the men of Israel in the time of Gideon taking the battlefield, who taking the battlefield now? Angels of God. To mop it up now.
Yes.
Because the men have done their battle between each other.
Yes.
The stone has stone. Who to get stone?
Yes, sir.
And Jesus Christ says, alright, let's just finish this off now. See friends, I'm excited now, friends. I'm not worried about this time of trouble. I'm not worried. Because God tell me, my sister, that he has it covered.
Yes.
So I'm not worried. Not worried at all. Not worried at all. He has it covered. Now listen to this now. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword. The sword of the Lord and of Gideon. Out of his mouth went a... So it's not a literal sword here. The word of God is what? No, the sword now. So God is now, Jesus now speaking. I come into forth to destroy the wicked. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treaded the winepress of the fierce of the wrath of God Almighty. We learned in Revelation chapter 14 earlier that there was a trod on the winepress. To how far? 4 by 400 furlongs. Worldwide trodding. Friends, are you seeing that? Friends, are you not understanding me, friends? Let's stay together, friends. Don't get distracted. 4 by 400 furlongs is what? 1600 furlongs. That's the entire world. So it is saying the trod here that Christ is the one who's trodding the winepress now. Because the grapes are fully what? Right. The grace here and the wicked are fully right. They are set in their ways, they'll never change. And he hath on his vesture and his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords, coming mighty conqueror. The battle of Armageddon is soon to be fought. He on whose vesture is written a name, King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, lead for the armies of heaven in white horses, clothed in fine linen, clean and white. Last day events 251, 4th paragraph. And I saw an angel stand in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God, that he may eat the flesh of kings and the flesh of captains and the flesh of mighty men, the flesh of horses and the flesh and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. No. Is it literally Christ going to be putting their guns at? No. Who's going to put their guns at? We. His people. So they'll be attacking Christ through his who? His people. See, look at Revelation 17:14. They will make war upon the Lamb, and the Lamb will triumph over them, for he is Lord of Lords and Kings of Kings. And those who accompany him, called as they are and chosen and faithful, shall share in the victory. Who is that? We.
Yes.
We're gonna share the victory.
No. Here it becomes, no, listen, everybody wake up now. Touch a young man right here. Wake him up right here. I'm serious. Wake him up. Boy. Wake up. Touch him, wake him up. I'm serious.
You're going too far, man.
Shake him. I'm serious, my sister. Wake him up.
Can't make that pass over your head, my boy.
Over here.
Watch out.
No, no sleeping now. I'm serious, friends.
Watch out.
The next few slides is us, we need to stay awake for the slides. And I'm not being forceful, I'm just being honest.
But it's truth, sir.
We need to hear what's going on, what I'm going to discuss now. First manuscript release, 260, second paragraph. Study the 9th chapter of Ezekiel. These words will be literally fulfilled. Yet the time is passing and the people are asleep. They refuse to humble their souls and to be converted. Not a great while longer will the Lord bear with the people, who had such great and important truths revealed to them, but who refuse to bring these truths into their individual experience. Who is he talking about here?
We and God.
Seventh-day Adventists he's talking about.
Yes. We and God.
So are we saying here that Ezekiel chapter 9 that describe these 6 plus 1 men, 7 men, with slaughter and weapon representing the last 7 angels, that God have a special plan of destruction for Seventh-day Adventists?
Yes.
That will be literally fulfilled?
Yes.
Absolutely, that's exactly what we're saying. That's why I want all you guys to stay awake.
Yes, sir.
Listen to this now. Then I was shown a company who were howling agony. Early writings, 36, second paragraph. Then I was shown a company who were howling agony. On their garments was written in large characters, "Thou art weighed in the balance and found wanting." You understand why this topic is? Garments found wanting? But that's the discussion, yes?
Yes.
I asked who this company were. The angel said, "These are they who have once kept the Sabbath and have given it up."
Yes.
Wake up!
Yes, sir.
If you don't wake up now, I'm going to come and literally pinch you and wake you up.
Yes, sir.
That's the reason why I want us to wake up now,
Yes,
because
sir.
this is no
Yes,
play
sir.
time for
No,
us.
sir. Don't joke business. Don't joke business.
Amongst the people of God who said they were the people of God, God is going to set amongst them these 7 men with the slaughter and weapon. And on their garments, it's going to say, garments, written in large characters, "Thou art found weighed in the balance and found wanting."
Yes.
Who are these? These are they who have once kept the Sabbath and have given it up. So I said, I don't want to sleep in here now. You
No,
understand
sir.
the reason
No,
why?
sir. No.
Because we have to hear this.
Yes, sir.
It must be said that I preach and told you guys
Yes,
this.
sir. Take the blood off of your shoulder, sir.
Now, listen now. We're reading. We'll continue to reading now. I heard them cry with a loud voice, "We have believed in thy coming and taught it with energy." And while they were speaking, their eyes would fall upon their garments and see the writing. And then they would wail aloud. I saw that they had drunk of the deep waters and fouled the residue with their feet, trodden the Sabbath underfoot. And that was why they were weighed in the balance and found wanted.
Amen.
The mark of deliverance has been set upon those that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done. Now, the angel of death goes forth, represented in Ezekiel's vision by the men with the slaughtered weapons, to whom the command is given: slay utterly old and young and maids, little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark.
Yes.
Those were sealed and beginning at my sanctuary.
Amen. That's the truth.
So this is the reason why we need to stay awake.
Yes, sir.
So those of us who are playing church
Yes.
Yes, yes.
and falling on God's Sabbath,
Yes.
those 7 men with the slaughtered weapons, 6 men plus 1 amongst them with an inkhorn, represent the last 7 plagues.
Yes.
If you doubt it, read the few verses early in Ezekiel chapter 9. Mention that the glory of God had moved from between the cherubim and gone onto the threshold. You guys didn't get that? When does that occur? When probation what? Closes. Hallelujah, you guys got it.
Close.
So it's talking about the time when what? The 7 what? plagues are going to be falling.
Yes.
And there's going to be a literal fulfillment where God is going to have his angels amongst us Adventists who choose to play fool and cut us down. Cut down who? Young, old, maids, little children and women.
Yes.
That's why everybody needs to stay away.
Everything.
When I read this and studied this, I shook in myself. Says the prophet, great controversy, 656, second paragraph. They began at the ancient men which were before the house. Ezekiel 9, 1 and 6. Let me just say this, because there's no time for straight talking. You saw all these pastors in all the conferences playing the fool. They began at the ancient men which were before the house. Let me look in the camera. Conference presidents who does not want loud cry message to preach in the church. They began at the ancient men which were before the house. Pastors who doesn't want a message to come in their church that says Jesus saves and Jesus righteousness.
Yes.
They began at the ancient men which were before the house.
Yes.
The work of destruction begins amongst those who are professed to be the spiritual guardians of the people. Pastors! Wake up time now.
No afraid, sir. No afraid, sir.
Wake up time now.
Take it.
God is saying to us, wake up.
Take it.
Feed the flock properly.
Yes.
The false watchmen were the first to fall.
Yes.
There are none to put into our despair. Men, women, maidens, and little children were perished together.
Yes. Yes.
And this is going to begin now. The house of God, God's people, the Seventh Adventist Church.
Yes.
Let's deal with that.
Yes.
Let's not hide from that. It is biblical.
Yes.
How many princes were taken during the time of Gideon? Two. Revelation 19 verse 20. And the beast was taken and with him the false prophet. I told you you're going to say that again. I told you. You see she say it again? You friends, you see the parallel? So there were two princes taken in the time of Gideon. Two princes taken here again. And the beast was taken and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and to them that worship his image. These both were cast alive in a lake of fire, burning with brimstone. And the beast was taken and the false prophet. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse. Sword coming from his what? His mouth. His words. Which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse. Which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. Last few slides. Revelation 21. Revelation 20, first verse. Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold of the dragon, that serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. And he cast him to the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal on him, so that he should receive the nations no more. The 1,000 years were finished. Friends, I want you to come back next week Sabbath to discuss this part. Dress for supper.
Amen.
That's going to be our penultimate, and this evening we'll be discussing Home at Last. And then our 24 lecture series including the sound will be completed. We're going to close off with prayer. I want to take a few questions. Shall we pray?